Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. We're a vegan, mostly whole food cooking channel. We do some product reviews. Sometimes there's some episodes with Tim. Hit that like button, show us some love, and please think about subscribing and become part of the Plant-Based Dads family. We do have a Patreon page set up. Our patrons are our monthly financial supporters that help us put the show together and get the plant-based message out to the public. If you've ever seen the show, or if you're in the Facebook group and you thought about how can I help, how can I be part of this, that's how you can help. You can become a patron, a monthly financial supporter, or you can do a one-time donation on PayPal. There's a link to both Patreon and PayPal below this video. Today's Monday, March 28th, and it's the first of 7 days of our end of month Mary's Mini Challenge that we have in the Facebook group and on YouTube every month. Mary's Mini is a more condensed version of the starch solution, where you're choosing one starch for the whole time you're doing it, usually 10 days. In this case, it'll be 7 because it'll run into the next 21-day challenge. So it'll be 7 days, one starch, and you can mix all your non-starchy vegetables, but your starch will be like potatoes, or sweet potatoes, or rice, or oats, or corn, or peas, or anything like that. Let's say you take potatoes, white potatoes for your starch, then every meal for 7 days you will eat white or yellow potatoes, not sweet potatoes, just russets, whites, goldens, reds, those. And you'll have that with a non-starchy vegetable at every meal. And you'll do a 50-50 plate. And this will teach you to eat more simpler by not putting a lot of sauces on it or not, making your meals elaborate. The idea of Mary's Mini is that your food becomes boring and you're not looking forward to it every meal, and you're not putting a lot of effort into it where you're so excited about it that you overeat and consume too many calories. So that's how it all works. And since we're kicking off the Mary's Mini today, I've got a really good Mary's Mini compatible recipe. I'm going to show you how to do my diner potatoes. We call these in New York home fries, and they're basically pieces of potato, and in New York they're sliced, and then they're kind of cooked, and as they're cooking the ends are breaking and mashing a little bit, and it's just kind of a sloppy mess that's usually made with oil and a bunch of other horrible ingredients that we just don't eat on a high carb, low fat way of eating. My version is oil-free, of course. It's absolutely compatible with the Mary's Mini, and I make these all the time, even when I'm not doing the Mary's Mini, because they're just so good. When I'm having them without the Mini, I pour my cheese sauce over it. With the Mini, I just leave the cheese sauce out. I just have the potatoes and the broccoli and the soy sauce and all that. So take a look at this video, watch what I'm doing here. If you're starting the Mary's Mini, and if you're doing a potato Mini this time, then this is gonna work out perfect for you. All right, let's get to the food. I'm starting with 2 pounds of air-fried potatoes. I don't know that you need 2 pounds for this recipe, but I wanted at least 1 pound, and what was I gonna do with the other pound? So I just did all of them. These are already cooked. Next, I'm gonna grab my Strong Gladiator Series mini Santoku knife. This is absolutely my favorite knife right now, and there's a link below this video where you can purchase your own Strong knives. Now I'm just gonna take my knife and cut through the potatoes and kind of make them into smaller pieces. Traditionally, these are done with slices, but I don't have time to do all that, so I'm just making little pieces out of them. Just little bite-sized chunks. Some of these potatoes I'll cut into quarters, some of them I'll cut into sixths. And here you can see they're all chopped up and ready to go. Next, I've got some red peppers I've cut into strips. Now I'm just gonna cut them the short way and get them diced. I don't want them too small, just bite-size. Here I'm gathering them up and getting them into my prep bowl in preparation for cooking. And you can see here, peppers done. And here I've diced up 1 whole yellow onion into a small dice. Now it's time to start cooking. I've got my non-stick skillet out on my induction cooktop, and I'm gonna throw some water in it to get the cooking process started. I'm not using oil. We're gonna be water sauteing. Once the water starts steaming, I know the pan's hot enough. I'm gonna start with my onions. I'm gonna dump them right into my pan, and I'm gonna grab my spatula and do a little mixy here. I'm gonna let these cook for about 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna add my red peppers. I'm gonna grab my spatula and get those combined also. I wanna make sure these become nice and soft. The peppers cook in less time than the onions. That's why I let the onions go for 2 to 3 minutes first. Once you can see the onions are translucent and everything looks nice and soft, now it's time to add the other ingredients. Here I'm adding my potatoes, which again are already cooked. They're just chopped into bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna dump all those in there. Then I'm gonna grab my spatula. I'm gonna make sure everything's kind of combined, and there's a little pepper, a little onion, and a little potato in each little part of the pan. Now I'm grabbing some soy sauce, or here I'm using coconut aminos. I'm using this one right here from Trader Joe's. And I'm just gonna put in about 1.5 tablespoons of coconut aminos or soy sauce in this, just to give it some flavor and to enhance the cooking process. I'm also adding about 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder here, and then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, because I can't do one without the other. And now I'm adding about 1/2 teaspoon of parsley, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. I'm also throwing in about 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. Next, I'm using a pinch of salt. This is optional. If you want to leave it out, that's fine. And then I'm putting in a nice healthy sprinkle of pepper, because I love me some pepper. Spices are in, and now it's time to mix all this up and make sure it's nice and combined. You can see there's still some soy sauce or water at the bottom of that, so these are still cooking. It hasn't dried up. If it gets too dry, you can add a little bit of water just to keep it going. So on a diner with true home fries, the ends are kind of broken. So I'm using a potato masher just to kind of mash a little bit of it, just so it looks imperfect. And then I'm using my spatula to recombine everything. You can see, some of them are mashed, some of them are whole, some of them are chunks, some of them are pieces. It's just kind of this beautiful potato mess. Next, I'm adding a full tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And then I'm gonna give this a mixy to make sure it's all combined. Now I'm adding a whole one of those bags from Costco of frozen broccoli that I cooked in the microwave. So the broccoli has already been steamed in the microwave and it's already soft. Now I'm just kind of mixing it together, and I want to make sure that I get the broccoli down toward the bottom along with the potatoes so they can all brown nicely together. And I'm gonna let this cook for, 5 minutes, just to make sure everything's warmed up together. And now I'm gonna take a taste. I wanna make sure I got plenty of potato and broccoli goodness on this, and some peppers. Oh man, look at all that goodness right there. You know this is gonna be good. There's all my favorite foods right there. I'm gonna give this a taste and see how it goes. And it's good. We're ready to plate this up. All right, so now I've got a white plate out here. I'm just gonna dump in some of my meal here. This is a 50-50 plate the way it is. So just fill the whole plate up with it. There's plenty of broccoli, peppers, onions, along with your potatoes. So it's a whole meal. And I'm gonna chop this off with a little bit more dried parsley on top here. And here you have a beautiful plate of diner potatoes, or as we call them in New York, home fries. Perfect for the Mary's Mini, perfect for the starch solution, perfect for lunch. Always a good choice. That's our video for today. Hit that like button, show us some love, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell. You'll get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Monday. And please, leave a comment below. Let me know if you're doing the mini with us this week. Let me know if you're gonna make this anyway, just because you love potatoes. Let me know your thoughts on our oil-free home fries. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.